Welcome back to the programme. Moves aplenty in the commodity complex. Yes, the LME was offline, but those crude prices, even though they continue to trade, notwithstanding other industrial commodities go offline from an LME perspective, it was a quiet session, as you might well expect. A quiet trade, and as well, two investment banks are out there, Barclays and Macquarie, tipping oil prices to fall below 30 a barrel. That's, of course, a net negative on sentiment, as you might well expect. Well, let's bring in Pete McGuire, CEO at xm.com/AU. Pete, welcome to you. So, certainly the makings of a perfect storm brewing once again. No sooner do we kind of celebrate than we're having to commiserate over this real prospect of downdraft. How are you reading it?
Well, good afternoon, Carson. There's no doubt. I mean, the market's had a dramatic rise up, as you know, 60, nearly 60%, I think, in that period of time over the last, matter of weeks. It's been very, very strong. I might correct myself there. I think it was about 55%. And I think it really got to a point there that it's being exhausted to the upside, that $41, $42 level. It just can't get through there. We're seeing numbers come out as far as EIA and, of course, what's happening with the American Petroleum Institute. They'll be releasing data tonight. At the present time, I think it'll probably oscillate between that, as we say, 35 to 40. I'm seeing in daytime trade today, WTI is just about 39.40. So they're just, the heat seems to have been taken out of the crude market at the present. It's just having a little bit of a breather.
Peter, John Milroy from Ord Minnett here. Just a quick one. The focus is going to be back on the OPEC meeting in April and talk of what happens with Russia and OPEC deal. What's your view around that?
Well, good afternoon, John. Look, quite simply, there's a number of key factors. First off, production numbers they want to hold at these sort of levels. We're talking, as far as the Saudis are concerned, they're very conscious as far as what Russia's doing. Nigeria needs to get numbers, and they're very solid, and of course Iraq. The outlier is Iran. What's happening there? It needs to increase its supply, and it's been given, I think, a green light. That's what will happen from the meeting itself. So, as it plays into the market, you're seeing consumption come up globally, and that's very, very evident. So OPEC naturally wants to see it at 45 to 50 or more, and I think the handbrake's going to be you've got too much supply out there, John, and the market's not going to take it.
In the last few moments as well, crossing on Reuters, London, North Sea Brent falling to below 40 a barrel. Pete, your reactions on that? Where are you seeing a floor?
Well, that hasn't surprised me. I mean, at 39.20, 39.30 for WTI, Carson. I think there's probably this week, you're probably going to see it move a little bit lower. I wouldn't be surprised to see Brent sub 39, WTI in the 38s. Very hard to speculate where the end game is, because by the end of the week, if the numbers that come out from the EIA and, of course, the American Petroleum satisfies, and the market says to itself, all right, we're obviously going to see softness. What happens with US dollar as well? So at the present, I think you're going to see it trending a little bit lower.
And now more than ever, how keenly are you attuned to every move India makes? I'm intrigued to see its economy expanding faster now than any other major country, growing middle class. Leaves China in its wake, frankly.
You betcha. IMF numbers are just absolutely wonderful. India is the place to look at from 2017, 2018 onwards. I think they're going to have a golden 15 years, if not longer. Everything ticks the box there. Demography, certainly you've got a young nation as far as age, and you've got consumption. And the other side, of course, you've got wonderful resources. So India will start to get back into the market, I'm sure, as far as production. In crude, they're surrounded by ocean, of course, and I'm sure that they'll be looking at deep water and gas and so on. So the Indian story, I think, is very, very strong, and that's going to remain very evident for many years to come.
And we haven't even talked Diwali. We haven't even talked gold. Hello, segue.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. I mean, have a look at the gold market. It's off from its highs. You've seen that 1260, 1270 a couple of weeks back, week and a half to probably 10 trading sessions. Now that 1215, 1220, all the steam's come out of it. I think it's going to be interesting how it plays into April.
Well, and not least of all this week, Janet's talking.
Exactly.
Janet's at the rostrum. Dollar is priced to perfection now. What's your belief in where the greenback goes this week?
We've looked at that pretty closely. There's plenty of volatility on the currency markets, and I think at the present time, waiting to see what Yellen says, but I think at the moment, I'd have to probably say possibly short dollar for the over the next week or so. So that's the call at the moment. It's going to be a tight one, but I think there's probably it could play that way.
Pete, Mark Todd here from the NAB. I take it you're keeping a very short range on that short dollar strategy. In other
Absolutely.
words, yeah.
Well, you've got to be, Mark. I mean, you know that derivatives, and if you're dealing in the retail sector, you've got to have your stops really locked in. Many traders, as we know, have multiple positions and strategies, and of course, they look at options, they look at different derivatives, and they're very mindful as far as time of day. They can be long in Asia, short in Europe, and then long in US. So the market's incredibly liquid, huge volumes, and of course, nearly 6 trillion a day. So that's the appetite, and many traders really enjoy that market.
Pete, we'll call time on it, but thanks as always. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
CEO at xm.com/AU. Pete McGuire there from our City CBD studio. We've got to take a break because we've got the second hour up for you, focusing in on REITs. Our featured guest joining the programme from Deutsche Bank, Mark Roberts, exclusively live for you on the other side of this.